business cycles. Yeah. The business cycles.
Here are 3 tips or advice points for men who want to work more effectively with women. These involve some introspection and self-awareness, so they're not for everyone, but if they are for you, here they are. First, examine your beliefs about women. Who are the most influential females in your life, and what roles did they play? If women have made you feel embarrassed or ashamed in your life, think about when and how, and consider how that experience may still be impacting you. Second tip, surface the value you believe women bring and examine if it's hard for you to think beyond gendering and stereotyping behaviors. Examples include things on the surface that may seem like compliments, such as like, they keep us from being Neanderthals, or they warm up the office environment, or even they can't handle tough conversations. I don't want to make them cry. And third, as far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely a difference between men and women. And whatever the position is on the biological impact, how we are socialized seals the deal. So if women are less likely to be assertive, try to understand it doesn't represent an inherent weakness, but rather a conditioned pattern that gets continuously reinforced without supportive mentors, bosses, and colleagues. I wrote about gender and identity in my book, The Party Method. There is a more nuanced conversation about binary and respecting people's gender identity that extends beyond the scope of this conversation. Listeners, do you have any thoughts on this? We want to hear from you.
Woo! This is heavy stuff. Go and grab a coffee. Hang tight. We'll be right back. I received feedback from both male and female listeners on the opportunity for men to find support on evolving and adapting to changing workplace norms. Men who have support and resources to grow become better colleagues to both other men and women, which can lead to healthier workplace cultures, more productive workforces, and successful employees. Men are less likely to seek help, including therapy and mental health diagnoses. Suffering alone, often self-medicating to cope, can and does lead men into despair. In 2023, the CDC reported male suicide rates were 4 times the rate of women. The data shows that all men are vulnerable, but especially those over 45. In the spirit of supporting each other, here are my 3 pretty high-level tips for men. 1, institute a self-driven continuous learning plan today. We know in the first acts of our career, we need to be learning and expanding our expertise. This is a practice which we must continue throughout our lives. Never stop learning and growing. Einstein said intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. As we progress in tenure and begin to earn more, learning becomes even more critical. This is because we will be in competition with more people for a limited number of senior roles. It's imperative to future-proof our careers by continuously adding to experiences and skill sets. For example, it's common for recruiters and hiring managers to value someone with 5 years experience and someone with 12 equally. So review all your soft and hard skills and take note of how many years experience you have in each. It's counterintuitive, but you should have a diverse set of skills, including skills with less than 5 years experience, because it indicates you're constantly topping up your knowledge. Demonstrating this kind of intellectual discipline alone might set you apart from others. 2, objectively evaluate and update your work persona. Your persona needs to evolve in line with your role, seniority, work culture, and leadership team. Men who are in their 50s and 60s grew up in work cultures where, for example, it was common to make off-color jokes. But over time, cultural norms shift, and this type of behavior is now viewed as inappropriate and unprofessional today. There are other shifts which might be more nuanced and harder to identify. For example, a senior executive who over-relies talking about sports in lieu of finding more accessible topics for diverse workforces. Unless you're working in the sports industry, it's likely that you're communicating in a narrow and limited way and potentially alienating members of your team. If your interpersonal work style is the same at 55 as it was when you were 25, you need to give your persona an overhaul ASAP. In my work at MChalv Advisory, I offer executive coaching programs on persona design, as well as coaching services specifically for men. And finally, tip 3, build emotional intelligence and internal capacities through personal development work. True knowledge comes through a deep understanding of ourselves. This isn't because you're bad or broken, but because this is the human experience. Rather than feel shame or lacking, be curious about who you are and what makes you tick. Armed with self-knowledge, you'll feel more confident and resilient to evolve and adapt in ways which will better serve you. These adjustments will compound over time. Almost immediately, you'll start to experience positive feedback in both your personal and professional lives. Self-awareness can release you from suffering by providing insight into your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, all of which allows for better coping mechanisms and personal growth. You'll understand your triggers, learn how to regulate your emotions, increase your resilience, improve your relationships, and the felt experience of being authentic and alive in the present moment. I have heard from multiple senior leaders that their very senior male bosses are uncomfortable delivering honest performance feedback and constructive criticism. Their perception is that their male boss is scared to hurt their feelings or is scared of being perceived as being harassing in some way. In these instances, men may need support in learning how others experience them and how to deliver difficult messages in a way which retains the dignity of the other. Unless these men find support to learn how to grow beyond this self-protective behavior, they will continue to rob their female employees of the mentorship and development guidance which will ultimately help them meet expectations and grow. Personal development can occur through self-study, therapy, coaching, or any combination of those things. Begin the process of self-discovery however you feel most comfortable and try new things over time, adjusting based on what works for you. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that is my wish for you, to become who you truly are and to achieve the limitless potential of your dreams. Thanks for tuning in. Did you find this episode interesting? Please take a moment to rate and review us on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Your feedback not only helps us improve, but ensures you never miss an episode. Plus, your support helps us reach more listeners and bring you even more great content. Oh, and don't keep the good stuff to yourself. Share the love by sending this episode to the folks in your life who might benefit from it. We love building our community and would be thrilled to have them join us. Can't get enough Business Psychos? Get news, behind-the-scenes content, and random commentary, not to mention pictures of Katie's cat, by following us on Instagram and Facebook at Business Psychos Pod. Thanks again for listening.